Coming up now on Animal Outtakes, we're getting up close with the biggest cats in the world.
Look at that beautiful face.
And learning more about how these fierce felines communicate. Something these sea turtles may never have to learn about, the birds and the bees. Instead, they may need to study the environment. Our Inspector Planet has the details. And move over, Bambi, and say hello to June. This deer will stay this small and cute forever. This and much more straight ahead on Animal Outtakes. Sadly, there is a big problem facing exotic animals in captivity: money. Many say that that's what fuels the exotic pet trade business. And if you have the cash, you can get the animal. But over time, they realize caring for these animals is not easy. And how many times the animals are the ones that pay the price. Lucky for some, they will go to a place like Wildlife Survival Sanctuary. It's here at the Wildlife Survival Sanctuary in Spring Hill, Florida, that you will find Sasha and Sergey. These are two hybrid Siberian tigers, and their story of how they ended up here is all too familiar. White tigers are popular and can bring in big bucks, but they are not a natural occurrence in the wild. So when Sasha and Sergey didn't come out all white, the breeder had no use for them. Luckily, they found a home here. You know, you have to look at what Mother Nature did. Look at that face. Look at, it's almost like a paintbrush just went over.
And their stripes are like our fingerprints, right? So in the wild, that's how they identify the individuals.
Now, how old is Sergey?
Sergey is 16 years old. He's been here since he was about 4 months old, and so is Sasha, their brother and sister, spayed and neutered.
Do they know that? Do they know that they're siblings?
I think they do. I think they do. They fight like siblings.
Okay.
So I think they do.
He looks so cuddly and so sweet. And you know me, I'd love to just get up and kind of rub his nose. Yeah. Would he ever let you do that, or is that?
He does let us, he does like our hands. And he also, come here buddy, come on. He chuffs, as you can see. As long as he's chuffing, he's basically greeting us, and it's friendly. But again, you know, I don't stick my hand in the cage.
No, of course not. No, no.
Because once I have my hand anywhere past the cage wire, I don't have control over my arm.
Hi, buddy. Being born in captivity does not change the fact that these are and will always remain wild animals.
Good boy. Good boy.
I just keep looking at the paws. Oh my goodness.
Yeah,
oh,
so he's about 600, 700 pounds.
His large size means a large stomach. And prepping the food for these tigers is a huge job as well. We were there when Sergey received a little snack, a chicken wing.
But how much food does he eat? This to me looks like not even an hors d'oeuvre for him.
It's not. So what they get is about 9 pounds a day.
Oh.
We fast them once a week because in the wild they don't eat every day, so they have to clean out their system. Sasha, you can see, is very cross-eyed if you look at her eyes. And that's from the inbreeding that they had to do in order to get a white tiger. So what Jen is spraying is mint, I believe. Yeah. And so they love the mint. That's part of enrichment as well, which is what they're doing right now. And as you can see, they're greeting each other. You hear the chuffing sound. So we have a lot of enrichment activities. We actually do enrichment tours, which means we try to get them up, get them moving, get them motivated, get them stimulated. That's a very important part of our daily care for them. Because even though this cage is a half acre, it's still a cage. So they can still get bored, and we want to make sure that they stay busy.
We always ask for donations because sometimes what we have Pumpkin Fest with the tigers. They can eat the pumpkin, it's good for them, for their stomach. So last year I think we put like 25 pumpkins in the tiger and we put it everywhere for enrichment, and they just went from pole to here to there, and they were all excited. It was like heaven, pumpkin heaven. So, and they really enjoy it because they can use it as a toy, they can bite it, they can hold it, they can put it in the water. I mean, it can't hurt them. So it's a lot to clean up afterwards, but we love it.
Coming up with fun things to do to stimulate these big cats can be fun and a good way to test the durability of some items.
So as we've been walking along, Bridget, I saw these things, which obviously are barrels, and yeah, I mean, you really can't move these too much, but I bet you they act like they're feathers.
Yes, Sergey especially, he will roll these around like they don't weigh anything. And if you look at this, all these scratches, because they have their claws, that's what that is, also their teeth.
And the holes
And
there?
the holes there, that's all done by a tiger. And if you feel this is not really flexible. It's a very thick wall. So there's
Oh,
a
yes, it
company
is.
that makes these for us, and they have different duties. And this is probably severe duty. And it still looks like this probably after about 6 months.
Just by looking at them and watching their personalities, those big tigers really seem to mimic a domestic house cat, don't they? But we did find out that there is something only big cats can do, and you're going to have to listen closely.
Hi, buddy.
What are you doing? What are you doing? You're a good boy. Good boy.
So the sound they're making, the chuffing sound, which is kind of like is a greeting to each other as well as to humans. And that's what she's used for communication also. You'll see if they get together that they also chuff at each other. So it's a natural communication mechanism for them.
Good girl.
So purring is an actual device that they have in their throat that other cats don't have. So cougars have that mechanism, they can purr, but these cats can only roar, so they cannot purr. So a big cat like a tiger, a lion, a leopard, they can only roar, and you'll hear them roar. It's an actual roar. Whereas a cougar can come up to you and purr like a cat, like a house cat. It doesn't always mean that it's friendly because a cougar is very unpredictable when they're purring. But your house cat can purr for two reasons. One is they're happy and you're petting them and they're in heaven basically. But they can also be in pain if they continue to purr constantly. What I've learned is they can actually be in pain. So it's not always a positive sound to make, yeah.
Wildlife Survival Sanctuary is operated and maintained strictly by volunteers. All donations brought into the facility go straight to animal care. The sanctuary started more than 18 years ago as a place mainly for big cats. But over the years, volunteers found more and more animals in need. Now lemurs, emus, a pot-bellied pig, and of course, many cats now call the sanctuary home. We all know about the birds and the bees, but when it comes to sea turtles, you may need to add temperature to the equation as well. Inspector Planet is coming up next.
You can be sure your furry friend continues to be loved and cared for even when you can no longer be there for them. Dante's Den provides a permanent, loving home for dogs whose owners have set up a lifetime care program for their beloved companion. We honor the trust placed in us by providing loving care, spacious dens, on-site veterinary care, and plenty of room to run and play. For more information, go to dantesden.org or call 844-DANTES Den. Dante's Den, continuing the love.
Science is everywhere and it's all around us. It's observing the world, forming questions, and the willingness to find the answers. It's something our Inspector Planet does every day, and you can too.
Hi, my name is Dr. Tracy Finara. I'm an environmental engineer, which means that I use different scientific disciplines to protect the environment, humans, and wildlife. At Mote Marine Laboratory, I use investigation and myth busting to answer questions. Only 1 out of every 1,000 of sea turtles actually makes it to adulthood. Thousands of sea turtles are hatched every year, and research shows that in warmer years, we get more females. But we have X and Y chromosomes. Our gender is dependent on our DNA. Is sea turtle gender dependent on temperature?
Sea turtles have been gliding through the water for millions of years. In fact, they are some of the oldest animals found on Earth. There are 7 different species of sea turtles. Nearly all are listed as either threatened or endangered. That's why hatchlings are so important to the survival of these reptiles. Every couple of years, the female sea turtles travel back to the place they were born. Pulling themselves along the sand, they dig a hole and lay more than 100 eggs. Which leads us to our question.
Does temperature play a role in the gender of sea turtle hatchlings?
Well, yes, it does. My understanding is that scientific study has determined that if the baby turtle egg develops in cooler temperatures, it tends to be a boy, it tends to be a male. And those that incubate at higher temperatures generally are females. If the temperature fluctuates between the cool temperature, which develops males, and the warm temperature, which develops females, then you get a mix of both males and females. If you have a consistently warm temperature, then it's going to be female. Consistently cool, male.
There's actually a biological reason why temperature is linked to genetics. So warmer temperatures produce females because it's thought that because they don't get as big, they don't need as much insulation, whereas the colder temperatures produce males because they do. Now, this isn't true for all species of turtles. In fact, the snapping turtle, females are produced whether it's really cold or really warm, and males are produced within those two extremities. Sea turtles are an important part of the ecosystem. Some species actually hold ecosystems on their back. They're like moving coral reefs. Others control jellyfish populations. But now that we know that temperature is linked to gender, what kind of threats do sea turtles face with climate change and warmer temperatures coming? Well, scientists at Mote Marine Laboratory, along with scientists all over the world, are working to protect sea turtles. And maybe it'll be you. Remember, guys, anyone could be a scientist or an engineer with some passion, hard work, and an innate curiosity of how the world works.
While the gender of a lot of animals are determined by sex chromosomes, the gender of most turtles and all crocodilians are determined by the environment and temperature. This is called environmental sex determination. Coming up next, she's tiny and just as cute as can be, but this isn't your typical deer.
Many active duty servicemen and women face a dilemma as they prepare for deployment. Who will look after their canine companion until they return? Dante's Den provides temporary boarding for their dogs as they serve. We honor the trust placed in us by members of the armed forces by giving their furry friends spacious dens, loving care, healthy meals, on-site veterinary care, and plenty of room to run and play.
Hi, Bubba. Hi, big boy. Oh my gosh, I missed you.
It's been a blessing. If it wasn't for this place, I would have had to get rid of him, and there was no way that I wanted to do that.
For more information, go to dantesden.org or call 844-DANTES-DEN.
You may be thinking, this is a baby deer, but this little girl is actually full grown. The Reeves muntjac is one of the smallest species of deer in the world. Other than sweet, wonderful, perfect, who are we feeding here?
So this is June. She is our Reeves muntjac, and they're actually one of the smallest species of deer in the world. There's only about 3 species that are smaller than her, so she is a year old, but she is fully grown at this size.
You do know I have dogs bigger than her.
So do I,
Yeah.
yes, absolutely.
And where is she indigenous of?
They are native to Asia. In China over there, they live in the tropical and temperate forests, and they are also now, there are established populations in parts of Europe because some of the populations that were in zoos over there actually got out, and so there are some established populations, but they are native to Asia.
She's so sweet. She's so perfect. You almost feel like you could put a leash around her and just take her for a walk down the block.
Yep.
She is a very small breed. Why is she here at Jungle Gardens?
She is here just to teach people all about her species. Since, like I said, she is one of the smallest deer, which makes it pretty unique that we do have one. But she is just a really cool animal to have and to educate people about and to get them interested in different populations that are found not here in Florida, other places in the world. That's pretty cool that you can see right here.
Now, was she rescued here for?
She was not rescued. She actually came from a different facility, but she was hand raised by people, which is why she is very, very friendly.
Now, she's very solitary.
Yes. So these guys
is
are
this
actually
typical?
Yes. We only have one in here because in the wild, these guys are solitary. They're actually pretty territorial as well. And I'll see if she can show you right on the front of her face here. She has these little slits right by her eyes. Those are actually called preorbital glands. And inside those glands, they have their own scent. It's called a pheromone. And she'll actually open up those glands and rub that on trees and rocks in her environment to tell other deer that that is her space.
What is life expectancy as we know it for her?
About 7 to 10 years.
And she's a baby.
Yes, so she is only a year old, but like I said, she is fully grown, so she will not get much bigger than this.
Now, is she the type of deer that, you know, because of her size, you just want to cuddle her, you want to pick her up and hold her like we do a small dog? But we don't do that with this.
No, well, like I said, she is very friendly because she was hand-raised and bottle-fed by people. But other deer of her species in the wild would not be as affectionate towards people. But here, she does love all of her zookeepers. Will come in here, will hang out with her, give her some treats like I'm giving her right now, and she really does enjoy the attention. In the wild, they'll eat lots of different types of plants, foliage, roots, fruits, berries. They can also survive on meat and even eggs if they needed to, which allows them to live in some lower quality habitats in the wild if that was where they were found. There's not a lot of foliage or plants. They can survive on those other food sources, but mainly they are herbivores that eat different types of plants.
What is her keenest sense?
Her keenest sense is definitely going to be her sense of smell and also her hearing. Since they
Look
are,
at those ears.
Yes, so since they are a really small species of deer, they have to rely on hiding to stay away from predators, and they're also pretty quiet. They have to stay pretty quiet to stay away from those animals. So their sense of hearing is very, very sharp, so they can hear those predators and be able to hide when they are around.
And she loves being scratched
Yes,
underneath
she
her
loves
chin.
being
This is the happy spot. The Reeves muntjac is also known as the barking deer. That's right, they are known to bark just like a dog. And here's another fun fact. The male muntjac actually has tusks or long canine teeth. We're so very happy to be here with Dr. Greg Greiner, who does serve on our board and is a veterinarian that we go to along with our other medical staff for all the advice we can get so that we can administer to these little guys properly. So here we have Joey, Dr. Greiner. He's 9.5 years old, soon to be 10. He is a purebred basset hound, and he is my boy. And what are you feeling here? What should we expect when we bring Joey to you?
The first thing we like to do, if they're of reasonable size, is get them up on the table. It kind of isolates them a little bit, but it makes it much easier for us to do a physical examination on him. And the first thing that I always do is communicate with you, the owner. How's he been feeling? Get a history on him, any vomiting, diarrhea, any urinary problems. And normally, as I'm talking to the owner, who would normally be on the other side of the table from me, as I'm petting him, I'm actually feeling all of his lymph nodes. Does he have any skin tags, any lumps or bumps anywhere that I should be aware of? And then personally, I've always started my physical from the nose backwards. We're taught in school, it doesn't matter how you do your physical as long as you do it consistently and completely every time, and check all of their body systems. And so I always like to start at the front end. And at Joey's age right away, the first thing I see is that he's got a little cloudiness in his eyes. That happens to all of us, humans as well. The center of the lens of the eye continues to grow and slowly push outward to the day you die, but it's covered by a very tough capsule which won't stretch to accommodate it. So it gets harder and harder and a little bit cloudy, and that's why you need bifocals when you start to get to be my age.
But what do we do with Joey?
Dogs have very poor near vision to begin with. Their eyes are meant for hunting and seeing moving objects in the distance. So they're fine with that. And even a young dog, you'll notice, if something is up close, they don't just walk up to it, they sniff for it. They really rely on their other senses besides their vision. So he may need bifocals if he's going to go driving, but other than that, he'll be okay.
Now, with a basset hound, he has these huge soulful eyes, but also the dropped lids, and it worries me. What about his eyesight? Is this something that's going to progress with age? Something that I have to do, or just let him grow old?
Let him grow old. He does have a little tiny growth on his lower eyelid. It's a very benign little oil gland tumor. And if he were my dog, at some point when I knocked him out to clean his teeth or some other procedure, I would just take that off. It's a cosmetic procedure. His teeth, we always give a dental grade, 1 through 4. 1 is like you're a puppy, you got almost nothing on your teeth. 4 is you have trench mouth. And he is about a grade 2. And that's the point at which we start thinking that might need to have his teeth cleaned.
Okay. Now, one of the things I've noticed here, Dr. Greiner, there is a pea-size.
That is a little oil gland cyst, and that's basically a pimple. And again, if you're my dog, when you were asleep, I would poke that open and drain that out for you.
Now, Joey has come to us. He's been here. He's my dog, and I adopted him. He's been here about 2.5 years. One of the things that I saw with him was what I would call arthritis in these little legs. And about 2 months ago, we noticed that he was having a lot of difficulty walking. He might be a little chunky, but not so much. But we noticed that there was a hindrance here for him to walk, and it would get to the point where he would go out to do his business and then just stop. Is this typical? Is he at the right age for what you might say arthritis, and what do we do about it?
It is, and it's somewhat genetic based and breed based. Obviously with these guys, we put probably about a 50-pound dog on probably 10-pound dog legs. So they're very prone to getting arthritis. You can see also that his feet toe way out. That's part of his, called chondrodysplasia in this breed. And we manage it just like we would arthritis in humans.
The dysplasia that you speak about, is this normal? Is this the way he's supposed to be?
For his breed.
For his breed.
Yep,
Okay.
they're genetically predisposed to it, and as a result of the poor mechanics, they tend to get arthritis very early, especially in the lower joints. And as a general rule of thumb, we treat them just like we do humans with arthritis. If you're having a bad day, you take an anti-inflammatory for it. We try to restrict the amount of drugs that we give them. And there is a whole array of pain management that we have in our armamentarium now, including things like acupuncture and herbs.
Well, that sounds wonderful.
Nutritional supplements, all kinds of options for you.
And so you would say on the quick couple of minute investigation, how's my Joey?
Wonderful. I love these. You can go flying on a windy day, my friend.
We hope you had fun and learned a thing or two along the way. We'll be back here again next week with even more animals and some wild adventures. Until then, thanks for watching.
I wasn't expecting it stung to be quite that long.
He's silly.
I wish I was rolling on that.
Yeah, that got in there.
Okay, so let's start with that same question if you can.
Yep.
If he backs up, he might spray you, so just be careful.
Oh, really?
It's got a wide range.
Maybe we'll have you come out and will you just show the bigger, that big.
Uh-oh, uh-oh.
Wait, is this where you push me in front?
He was gonna do it, wasn't he?
The tail go up.
No, in this case, it's because of the smells.
Okay.
I did save you.